Exploring the nature of reality, simulation theory, and consciousness. Donald Hoffman, a cognitive scientist and professor, has proposed a groundbreaking and controversial theory about consciousness that challenges our fundamental understanding of this reality. In his book, The Case Against Reality, Hoffman argues that what we perceive as reality is not an accurate representation of the world, rather, a simplified user interface designed for survival. His interface theory of perception suggests that evolution didn't shape our senses to perceive the world as it truly is, but rather to provide us with a functional, survival oriented interface, much like the desktop on a computer, which shows icons representing files but hides the complex code beneath. This idea brings to mind a modern parallel, the concept of a simulation. During a recent visit to a mall-based virtual reality theme park, I saw firsthand how a simulated reality could convincingly override our senses. This experience drew striking parallels to simulation theory, which suggests that our entire existence might be part of a highly advanced virtual environment. Let's break this down through key aspects of virtual reality and the simulation hypothesis. Sensory manipulation and perceived reality in a VR theme park, high-end headsets, haptic suits, and motion platforms trick our brains into believing we're experiencing a real environment. Wind, temperature control, and vibration feedback create a multisensory illusion. Despite knowing the simulation is artificial, our emotional and physical reactions, like fear on a roller coaster, feel completely real. This mirrors what some propose in simulation theory. Nick Bostrom's simulation hypothesis suggests that if technology advances enough to create indistinguishable virtual realities, it's statistically likely that we're already living in one. I think he's right, but let's step beyond a mere technological view. What if the simulation was designed not by finite minds, but by infinite consciousness, what some might call God? Perhaps our perceptions, sight, sound, touch, and time are simply programmed stimuli, much like the effects in a VR game. If a basic virtual reality experience can trick our senses, how do we know that our reality isn't a more sophisticated version of the same thing? Imagine that God's headset is simply more advanced, embedded within our very consciousness. The projector, it's in our brains, creating this experience we call reality. NPCs and artificial intelligence. Are we surrounded by simulated beings? In video games, NPCs, non-playable characters, respond dynamically to player interactions. These AI-powered beings simulate consciousness, acting in semi-intelligent ways. I've seen enough to believe that something similar is happening here in our reality. Could the people we encounter daily simply be highly advanced NPCs? Philosophers and physicists have speculated that human consciousness might be computational like AI in video games. Quantum mechanics and the observer effect suggest that reality may only exist when observed, similar to how NPCs wake up only when interacted with in a game. This brings us to the idea that we might be players in a grand simulation, surrounded by programmed beings. But don't worry, no machine can replace true consciousness, whether infinite or localized. The essence of what you are cannot be simulated. The physics of reality. Is our universe like a VR game? In virtual worlds, objects behave according to programmed physics, engines, and rules that govern how things interact with the simulation. But when you push the boundaries of the game, trying to go beyond the map or encountering a glitch, you start to see the cracks in the illusion. In our universe, some scientists have proposed that the laws of physics behave similarly to computer code, suggesting a design system. Quantum physics anomalies, such as the famous double-slit experiment, reveal that particles behave differently depending on whether or not they're being observed. This suggests that reality may only render when actively observed, like a virtual reality system optimizing resources by displaying only what's in view. The Planck length, the smallest possible unit of space-time, hints at a resolution limit of reality. much like how pixel resolution defines the quality of a virtual reality display. What if our universe operates on an even more advanced physics engine? I believe it does. It's not just some scientific theory, it's God consciousness. The simulation theories that scientists propose might describe an elaborate video game, but they miss the bigger picture. There's something beyond their finite understanding, something more expansive, and this something is likely the source of all creation. And they will never find it. They admit to that. Time perception. Do we exist outside the simulation? In virtual reality, players often lose track of time. A 10-minute ride may feel like an hour thanks to how the brain processes experiences. Some virtual reality systems even manipulate time perception, speeding it up or slowing it down. When you remove the headset, the transition back to the real world can feel jarring. This idea parallels certain interpretations of simulation theory. Some theorists suggest that when we die, we might simply be exiting the simulation and returning to a higher reality. Near-death experiences, where people report consciousness outside the body, could be glitches or transitions between different layers of existence. If our reality is indeed a simulation, our true selves might reside outside of it, just as a VR player exists outside of the game. If a simple virtual reality theme park can trick our brain into feeling like we're experiencing an entirely different world, it raises deeper questions about our reality. Could our senses just be inputs into a far more advanced virtual reality simulation? And could quantum glitches, the anomalies, and strange physics be signs of a programmed world? Just as a virtual reality game exists within our real world, our universe might exist within a greater dimension, one where time, space, and identity work in ways we can't yet fathom. What if our bodies are avatars and our true selves are pure consciousness, or energy existing in a higher plane? Deep down, many of us intuitively sense that we're more than just our physical bodies, that our true nature is something more profound. Could it be that we've deliberately forgotten what we truly are, so we can fully experience the simulated world? If this reality is a design system, there must be a creator, an intelligence beyond our comprehension. Upon exiting this simulation, would we meet the architects of our reality? Would they appear as gods or simply as scientists running an experiment? In my next video, we'll explore what lies beyond this simulation and what the nature of that greater reality might be.